right. Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started, there is a sign-up sheet in the hall directly outside the door. If anyone would like to speak during public comment, if you could please share your name. It's not mandatory. If you would like to wait for a game time decision, you can do that as well. For this evening's agenda, is there a motion to proceed?
So moved.
A second. Second, okay. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. We'll move on to, Carly is not here at this time, so, we can just skip that. That's okay. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm way ahead of myself. Public comment, pardon me. Public comment, if you could please. You're welcome to come up here to the podium. It's a lot easier if you come to the podium because it allows the recording to pick up your voice, where if you're in the back, sometimes it doesn't pick it up so well. So, as I said, anybody for public comment? Andy? Okay.
Summer. I worked for the town from 21 to 22 and 22 to 23 as a dispatcher. I had the 3 to 11 shift. The 2 years I worked there, I didn't really have any issues with Andy until it came to the end of the last year. He asked me if I'd be back, which I told him yes, but joking around, I said, not if I moved to Maine, because at the time I was dating a girl from Maine. And then he asked if I would be interested in the overnight shift, which I wasn't, because I already have a 40-hour-week job on Friday afternoon workout. So it was like the following, I think it was around October, I got a message from John asking me if I was going to dispatch again, which I told him, yeah, as far as I know. Well, that was followed up with a text with a help wanted ad for a dispatcher from 3 to 11, which was my shift. The next day, Andy texted me and said, so you're working or not? I said, well, apparently not. You posted my job. He goes, well, you told me you were moving to Maine. I said, well, I didn't say that, but, and he's like, so are you coming back or not? And I said, no, I'm not, because if you're going to post my job, I'll find something else. It's a part-time job. I don't need the aggravation. So that was my little run-in with Andy.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
In case any of you guys don't know me, my name's Jerry Fox. I worked 22 and a half years for the town of Mendon. Took a lot of pride, and I think John knows that, and a lot of people I work with know that. I come in with Andy Cachetta as being highway superintendent, and it was the worst thing I ever went through in my life. I mean, it was evil. He would give me a workload. I mean, I was grounds and maintenance by myself, mowing everything, all the cemeteries. I would weed eat till I was blue in the face, sometimes 8 hours a day. I would not ever get any help. If I asked for help, he would refuse. The things that I saw him do there, it's just unreal. I'm shaking right now just thinking of it. And I had to leave all my vacation. I had to leave my medical after I retired, which that was unbelievable. That was a hard hit. All my sick time, never called in sick. I had the maximum amount of sick time that you could have at that place because I never called in sick. I felt bad for calling in sick. And then now I hear all this. I'm just telling you guys what I went through and other people, and I know Art Morrell went through the same thing. I tell you what, this guy, he needs to, something needs to go on with him. I mean, it affected my life, it affected my family's life, and it's disheartening, very disheartening. He's an evil man. But I'm glad I'm glad you guys, this all went down because I mean, something had to happen. It's terrible. But, and I still have, the town of Mendon in my heart. I still keep in touch with all the guys, most of the guys at the highway. And, to hear what's going on is just horrible. It's horrible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jerry.
Good evening, everybody. If you don't know me, my name is Art Morrell. I did used to work here up until August 30th of last year. And I guess I want to back up what Andy said, because I remember what was said. Cindy, can you pay attention to us, please? Thank you. I know how Andy was treated by Andy Cachetta. I know how Jerry was treated. I know how Kevin's been treated. We weren't allowed to help Kevin. That is so wrong. He would need help with a piece of machinery, picking something up. Where's this? Where's that? We weren't allowed to help him, which is wrong. I didn't have 22 and a half years. I worked 14 years. So I left my retirement, left my sick days, left everything on the table and everything. For what? For a guy who doesn't care. He's evil. The individual is truly evil. And I'll say that to anyone. My personal opinion, and this is impolite to say, but I'm going to say it because I say what's on my mind. I hope he rots in hell one day, because that's what he deserves. I hope he's sitting home and watching it. If he was sitting here, I'd look him right in the eye and tell him. The first time I saw him kick a washer bottle across the shop floor because something didn't go his way, because he didn't understand how a piece of equipment worked, and he lost his mind, should have known there's going to be problems right then. I should have never said to you, Cindy, that one night at the fire hall, at the swearing in, Andy ought to get the job because he's been doing it and he's been doing good. As soon as he got elected, light switch changed. Went right to hell. Excuse my French. It's how I feel. I'd actually like to say some more, but I'm going to sit down before I say something I really shouldn't. I might be back.
Thank you, Art. Thank you. Anybody else? All right, we'll move on. We'll move on with the agenda. Move on to communications. Michelle? Brent?
I have nothing.
I know we just met recently, but I want to give everybody a chance. Kim?
I think I want to address the recent public statement and the dialogue that's followed and emphasize that this situation should not be mocked. The board is deeply disturbed by the treatment of employees, and I have confidentially spoken with an employee and heard from residents regarding negative interactions with the highway superintendent. No one deserves such treatment, especially from a publicly funded official. While I understand the public's desire for transparency, the significant part revolves around employee confidentiality. I support all employees who give their all every day to the town of Mendon. Although it has taken time to mitigate the issue, there is a process that must be followed, and it feels like our hands have been tied. To the employees, we hear you and we support you. And while we cannot always share everything publicly, we are committed to protecting personnel confidentiality. I will continue to advocate for you the best that I can, and please continue to share your experiences and concerns with us. Your voices are crucial in ensuring fair treatment for all.
Thank you. Cindy?
I don't have anything.
Okay, Jim?
No, I don't have anything since the last meeting.
I've got a bright spot, because I think we all could use one. A few years ago, we had a young man in the community who had a little bit of a brush with law enforcement and was had to do some community service. And we had him come to town hall to fulfill this requirement of community service. And he was here for, you know, on and off a few hours a day for several weeks and did a terrific job. And I just happened to bump into him an hour or so ago at the grocery store. And you know, he's got a full-time job. He's got a nice shiny truck out in the parking lot. He's really doing very, very well for himself. And I just sometimes, you know, I like to find that little nugget of gold sometimes to share with people. But it was really a pleasure having him here. Very well mannered, and worked hard, did a really good job to fulfill his community service while he was here. And I'm pretty certain he's going to be successful in life. So that's all I wanted to share. I believe Carly's here. You want to step in at this point? Wherever you're comfortable. Hi, Carly. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
So we wanted to have a discussion with you regarding our situation with the highway superintendent, your investigation, and certainly open it up to the board to interact with you at this point, because quite frankly, I've been the go-between and I get questions and then I forward them to you. And I thought this might be a good opportunity for some back and forth as we go. I know I received a couple of things, or one thing at the end of the day, which is a PIP performance improvement plan, which I handed out to the board. Is there anything you'd like to start out with?
Nothing in particular. I'm sure to answer any questions. You know, after we left off the last time in executive session, I've been trying to do some work and been largely, you know, unsuccessful in that endeavor. And so I think we just move forward with the report recommendations, which are now public.
Does the board have any questions or comments?
I do have some questions. I don't know if it's appropriate to bring them up now or during, further on in the agenda. We talked about the position of the highway administrator.
Right, my recommendation would be, I'm happy to talk about anything in the public documents at this point. Obviously, I'm not gonna talk about like what happened since I left the last meeting, because that's been, you know, legal work that I've been doing. We have one board member, Ms. Carroll, who had recused herself from any of those legal discussions, and I would expect that to this evening as well. If you have any legal questions about any of the recommendations, those should be, I'll stay for executive session. But if you have any like factual issues or concerns about the public information, then I'm happy to discuss any of that with you here or answer any questions anybody else.
So we obviously have your report, and that report has been made public.
Yeah.
And you know, it quite frankly has brought out quite a few comments from employees as well as the public. And I've received interaction from members of the public who I have never heard from before regarding the highway superintendent.
Okay,
And their interactions with him about town business.
okay,
Most of them are reluctant to put anything in writing or come to a meeting because they felt that they were uncomfortable, I'll call it, or felt threatened. And I don't know, Michelle, do you want to share anything?
I have received several, one in particular, and she specifically asked not to share the story with anybody or anything. She just was happy to see that this was happening and she wanted to get it out to tell me, I guess, or to tell somebody. But she said at this time I was not allowed to really say much, ask her first if it happens, but she's terrified for the story to come out because she said he will know who she is.
okay.
And so, I mean, I know that does no good, but I just tell you and, you know.
And so, like, as you all know, I was investigating for you on your behalf, the employee complaints, which I'm a labor and employment attorney. Those were my primary concerns. Regarding what supervisor and the town clerk have just stated, my recommendation would be around, that's fine, people coming forward. It often happens when a report of this nature is made public, but if there's anything that would indicate any kind of criminality or anything of that nature, obviously, we wouldn't be able to hold those types of confidentiality that people are expecting. And that would be all that I would say on that topic.
Yeah, the individuals who made comments to me, I would not say it fell under criminality, it fell under rudeness.
Okay. Same goes for you then.
Not necessarily, but I will.
Okay, so we could discuss that then in executive session and we can see how we handle that, but we certainly can't keep confidential information if in fact that's something that we do have an obligation under the law to investigate and or report.
So a little later in the agenda, we have down that the town board could establish a position called highway administrator with a fair amount of detail. I think you had a chance to take a peek at that.
Yes.
You feel that it would be within the town board purview to establish that position and to have someone in that position.
Yeah, so my primary concern, as people probably have noted from the investigation report that my firm prepared, after having spent a lot of time, you can see the number of interviews we conducted with employees. And so my primary concern was with the employees and that I don't think that you can continue from now until December without some kind of separation and some kind of administrator or supervisor in place to monitor employee health, safety, welfare, that all workplace laws and rules are being followed. Because as the report indicates, based on the reports from employees, which I found to be very credible complaints, they were corroborated, people had factual information to support what they were saying to us. We spent a lot of time looking into all of that. These were serious issues that were creating a lot of stress for the employees, making it hard for people to come to work, just looking at it from their point of view. But from the town point of view, was creating, just liability to the point that, as you can see, and as we've discussed, you're talking about very potential large claims when you have people making sexual comments, when you have people engaging in violence in the workplace in violation of the law. These are things that could end up being a liability for the town. But again, what we had stressed is that you have employees that are becoming ill from their day-to-day treatment, and you need to do something to put a barrier in place because you have not done anything yet for those employees. I'm not saying it's any fault of your own, but I know like people had, you had the investigator with the political agenda that we found. All of that is not good for employees that were suffering during that entire time period. So we do need something in place to protect the employees, and I think it has to be done as soon as possible.
And as I mentioned, we did receive your recommendations for a personal improvement plan. And also in the agenda, I was speaking to our insurance company, which is the NYMER. They have literally hundreds of classes, courses, online courses. So I went through with their representative. We picked out 10 that we thought would be most appropriate. And then I was going to circulate a letter to the highway superintendent because he will be, through this program, you're actually assigned those so that there's a record that you actually did those.
Okay, terrific.
Classes.
And those were courses to help him understand the rules and regulations and laws that were associated with our report.
Yes.
Okay.
And the ones that are required by New York State law,
Yeah.
which all our employees take, including myself and the board members, he has taken those in the past as well. So, these are above and beyond the basic courses.
Okay. Well, I think that's excellent because that's a form of support in terms of the performance improvement plan, and hopefully somebody can learn from those and improve their performance. That's what we're looking for with the performance improvement plan. So with the pillars of the employee protection in place, and that person should be monitoring for no retaliation, in addition to compliance with all of the legal standards and expectations that you have in your town handbook for the appropriate treatment of the employees. And then the non-retaliation, as well as like success going forward and not engaging in the same or similar behaviors will be important, and education can be, you know, really strong in that regard. So I think that sounds like a good plan. It was one of my recommendations as well.
I'm sorry, go right ahead.
You're gonna ask what I know.
I probably, well, I think one of the things that I think is, I was seeing a pattern of is, non-inclusiveness or isolation or nonverbal harassment, I guess is what I'm saying, which is kind of, it seems like a newer focus than it has been from, that I recall years ago. And I think that's one thing that we've really, I guess I'm asking in your recommendation, is that something that we really need to focus on, not just for, I think townwide, this non-inclusiveness, this nonverbal harassment, it seems to be, I think it's still going. I think we need to identify it better.
Okay, you're saying going on with respect to the highway superintendent towards the employees in the highway department?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, so like an example of that for the other board members and for the folks that are here, from my report would be, if you just spoke to me, sir, and if I just disregarded what you said and turned and addressed somebody else, that's an experience that your employees were having in the highway department. It may seem simple to all of us here, but when that was happening repeatedly, it's very, very offensive and hurtful to employees than when they felt completely ignored. That was corroborated by individuals who had the experience, individuals who witnessed employees having that experience, you know, by multiple individuals that we spoke to. So I think that that kind of behavior would be an example of the nonverbal type of harassment that people were experiencing. The nonverbal harassment, also as detailed in the report, occurred when with favoritism. So we saw, as the report indicates, quite a bit of favoritism, and that led to isolation of individuals who were not the perceived favorites. And those individuals, as we met with them, were the individuals who were the most, I would say, unhealthy in terms of reporting to work every day. Many of them, and I obviously didn't put names in my report for legal reasons, but many of them seeing doctors and things for the emotional distress that they were experiencing in the workplace, which I perceived as real.
I think one of the examples I saw was birthday parties for some individuals and other individuals, they weren't recognized. Would it be advisable to, at one firm I used to work at, we used to have a birthday month. So it was birthday celebration and we recognized everybody that had a birthday that month. Would that be more advisable to inadvertently omitting somebody's birthday?
In my opinion, yes. High performing agencies and departments have handled birthdays in that fashion. Handle celebrations in that fashion. More inclusive celebrations are not to have them at all, but excluding people is very hurtful. It makes them feel not welcome in the workplace, even though there's no, like I said in the report, there's no legally protected category associated with that. It can happen, especially if it's all women. If it's, in this case, that wasn't the situation, but it's not, nevertheless, it's not good for recruitment and retention and the overall morale in the department is what I noticed. So a monthly celebration would be important. Again, the person, I don't have confidence that those corrections would be made unless there was somebody intervening in the department. I don't believe that your current superintendent has the capacity to make those types of corrections based on everything that I reviewed. And that's why my recommendation was so strong around putting some other person as a middle person to ensure that the employees have the protection. Right now, from a legal standpoint, once you're on notice of the behaviors and this board and the town supervisor fail to promptly remediate, correct the behavior, you're creating additional liability for the town as a whole. And as I discussed, these cases can be hundreds of thousands of dollars cases. I explained to the board, I had just been involved in a retaliation case based on a protected category that was a $1.4 million settlement. These are expensive cases. You're on notice you need to make corrections, if that includes putting somebody in place to make sure that those corrections occur, that's my recommendation, and that's what I put in the report, and that's why.
Thank you.
Kim, did you have something to follow up?
Yeah, so if we vote to establish this performance improvement plan and the required training, we can't make him take all this, correct? Or,
We can't force anybody to do anything. And when it's an elected person, as I put in the report, it becomes very difficult. We can talk about that more in executive session, of course, but we need to take whatever measures possible to try to correct behavior. I think you'll go a long way with having a person there monitoring and making sure that the employees are okay, that they're safe, that there's not chairs being thrown at them across the room, that they're not being, that their body parts aren't being discussed, or they're not being, ignored or treated unprofessionally or rudely. Somebody there can stop that behavior. That's what I'm, recommending when I say we need to have somebody there. It's again, I made that strong, kind of strange recommendation because I don't have confidence that the training alone is going to do it. So I'm telling you to put a bold measure in place to ensure that the employees are safe, protected, and treated fairly and appropriately in accordance with your expectations under your handbook and the law.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Carly, we also have a resolution regarding the Hunter County District Attorney's Office. In sending a letter by the board authorizing me to send a letter with a report, I just want to make sure that we're taking the right steps and that we're not creating any liability for the town by doing so.
I'd like to discuss that in executive session, if you will, because I do have some legal advice I'd like to share with you in that regard that we have not yet discussed. It's not in my report.
Okay.
And it's not a recommendation in my report.
Yes, I do know that. Is that something you would like to do tonight?
If you have time, I have time.
Okay. So maybe we can change the agenda to facilitate that, if that'd be acceptable to everybody. Anything else that anybody else would like to talk to Carly about? Thank you. Sure.
If whatever anybody wants, I'm here to answer any questions.
I appreciate it. At this time, is there a motion to amend the agenda?
So moved.
How would you like to amend?
I'm thinking we should make number 15 executive session. And adjournment 16. Is that correct?
Okay, we would not be able to act on number 11 until after executive session. So you want to put,
Okay, so let's make it then, you're correct. Let's make 12, 11. And 13, 12. And then 14, 13. And executive session 14, and then adjournment 16. And we're just going to remove number 11 for now.
well, I think we could do that after executive session. We could make number 11, number 15. And choose to proceed or not proceed depending on the outcome.
Okay.
And then make adjournment number 16.
Correct.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to budget adjustments.
Make a motion to approve the following budget adjustments from A1990.470 pension 35,000, pardon me, to A5010.100 superintendent of highways personnel services 35,000.
1 second.
Any discussion? This is to facilitate number 8. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Number 8, we have a slightly revised one that has been provided for you on a separate sheet of paper. It's a slightly different language in it. The change in the language occurs at yes, at the very bottom, where it says, the last sentence, be it further resolved, shall be transferred to the highway administrator when appointed for the duration of the administrator's term.
So
Instead of
moved.
what was in the previous one? Sorry,
Bro, you moved it, I move it.
I'll second.
second, any discussion?
For changing that? Or for the whole thing?
The whole thing.
For the whole thing
We're
as
just gonna consider
presented,
this one.
as John gave to us for the meeting.
I do have a couple of concerns. And the one concern is, well, they're all kind of tied together. I don't know that it's in the best interest of our taxpayers to pay a part-time person $1,000 a week. I find that to be a significant expenditure for that position. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it. I'm talking about the money aspect,
It's
the financial aspect.
for me, I agree $1,000 a week for a part-time person is a lot, but I think we have to. There are underlying costs which we are incurring and that we are possibly susceptible to that could be a much greater than $1,000 a week. And I also think that this could be a very, while being part-time, I think it could be a very daunting task. I think we need to make it. We need to try to get somebody to agree to it.
And are there benefits included in this?
It's part-time
Part-time
position.
position.
No
Right,
benefits.
okay.
So I think it's very important that this draws somebody qualified and will take this position seriously. And will have the respect of the employees, and I certainly wouldn't want to lose a good candidate over the financial reward. I wish there was somebody in the community to step forward and do it for nothing, to be honest with you. But I'm also not expecting that.
And how many hours a week will it be for part-time?
I would expect up to 20.
Would you expect a report on a weekly, bi-weekly basis?
Definitely.
And maybe that's something that could be revisited after so many weeks or months.
Possible. But yes, I think a regular report, at least for every town board meeting, something in writing would be appropriate from the individual. So that we can monitor. Anything else? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
I am gonna say no, just because I'm still concerned about this amount of money.
Michelle, could you call the question, please?
Yes, I'll call
Just for
for
clarity.
Ms. Carroll,
No,
Mr. Mirsky,
Aye.
Mr. Rozak,
I,
Mr. Roberts,
Aye.
Mr. Moffett.
Aye. Thank you. Let's see, we'll move on to number 9, which is appointment of highway administrator, and that is also on a separate sheet of paper because it's been revised.
I'd make a motion to authorize the supervisors to appoint an individual to fill the position of highway administrator, term to expire December 31st, 2025. With the compensation stated in the last resolution paid bi-weekly from account A 5010.100.
I'll second.
Discussion.
Again, I will just say, I have no problem with the administrator appointment as long as it's someone who's qualified for the highway, position. But I'm still having an issue with the month.
Anyone else? Once again, Michelle, would you call?
Ms. Carroll,
No,
Mr. Markey,
Aye.
Mr. Rosa,
Aye.
Ms. Roberts.
Aye.
Mr. Meyer.
Aye. Thank you. We will move on to number 10 on the agenda, which is Highway Superintendent. This is a personal improvement plan, which is everything that Carly gave us this evening in writing, and the classes that I have outlined in the agenda that were recommended by NYMER. Those classes are provided at no cost.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a question about number 8 and number 10. Is that the same thing?
One is offered by NYMER, and the other one is offered by New York State.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Move on to our new number 11, which is buildings and grounds for a trailer purchase.
I'll make a motion to purchase a new 2025 Corn Pro 14-foot single axle landscape trailer as stated on our agenda.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to say thank you to Kevin for providing the additional quotes for the procurement policy. I appreciate that.
Yes. And I appreciate, Kim, you bringing this to the board's attention. I know when this first came up, I was looking at a outdated version. And so I appreciate that. And since that, I made sure that everyone had the updated procurement policy. Obviously I didn't, but now everyone does. And this is purchase will be in accordance with the current procurement policy.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Number 12 is 15 Monroe Street for tree removal.
Make a motion. Make a motion to authorize the purchase of services for the removal of trees at 15 Monroe Street from Quality Tree and Firewood. And an amount not to exceed $3,600 to be paid from account A 621.400. The procurement policy has been followed.
Second that. Should that be A
It should be
1621?
16. Yeah, that's a type.
A 1621.
Yeah. And you second, right, Brent?
Yes.
Okay. These are some trees that are along the property line, working with the neighbor. Some of them are dead. A lot of them are dropping leaves on the roof of the youth center, which since it's a flat roof, it clogs drains. And they're leaning towards the youth center, that town amended property. I think some good work that we can do in advance to hopefully mitigate any problems that could come up later.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. New number 13 is public comment. Anybody would like to come up and speak?
Hey, everybody. My name is Art Morrell. So I just want, I want to make sure I heard this right. So one board member, I don't think I am, but one board member has a problem with paying a liaison to buffer between the highway superintendent and the crew. Did I understand this correctly?
I believe you did.
Okay, I know this isn't a question and answer. I know you don't have to answer, but I do appreciate the answer. So here's my thought as a taxpayer, along with some of the other fine people that are sitting here. Some that used to work for you as well. Okay, so we're paying a highway superintendent, I believe it's $89,000 a year, plus health insurance, plus retirement, plus he has a vehicle he runs all over hell in. And we have got an awesome, this town is blessed with an awesome group of men and women that work at 101 Semmel Road. And we're worried about $35,000 to protect them. When we have an attorney that sat right here and said, you're setting yourself up for some not good stuff to happen. And we're worried about 35. I don't understand. I don't understand how we pay an individual to rip this town apart, ruin people's lives. And we're worried about $35,000. Can somebody help me figure this? Because I don't understand it. Anybody got a comment or anything? I know you don't have to, but I would really appreciate it. Because I'll tell you what, I'm having a hell of a time paying an individual that's done the stuff that he has done to myself and the other great crew that I used to work with, and some other great people that are sitting here right now, and you're doing nothing. And Cindy, I'm truly, truly sorry that I ever promoted him to you. And I really appreciate you reaching out after I got illegally fired. I appreciate the caringness. Oh, thank you, by the way, for letting me speak. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Art.
Statement. I'm Jamie Lavner. I've lived in this community forever, so I'm speaking today to demand the immediate removal of the Mendon Highway Superintendent, Andy Kasheta. Multiple victims have come forward with serious allegations of sexual harassment, verbal, physical abuse, and retaliation, which to me should knock him off the stool to begin with, but that's regardless. An investigation has already confirmed this misconduct, yet he remains in power, while others live in fear and are jobless now because of this man. Any other public employee, whether a teacher or a town worker, would be suspended pending an investigation. Here, the investigation is done, the findings are clear, and still he is in an authoritative position, while these victims sit here and watch and have to listen to all of this unnecessary ridiculousness. To make matters worse, there is now an effort to release a misleading and unauthorized document, one clearly crafted to smear a specific individual using falsehoods spread by the superintendent himself and his followers. This is not just about avoiding accountability, it is about retaliation and manipulation. It re-traumatizes the victim and shifts attention away from the real issue, his misconduct. Even more disturbing is the fact that some are now using this entire situation for their own political gain, treating it like a strategy instead of a human crisis, which is what it is. This is shameful. The lives and safety of real people are being used as leverage and power plays, and it needs to stop. The real fear is this town. People are scared to speak, scared to work, and scared to be targeted. I call on this board to take a stand for truth, for decency, and for the safety of this community. Remove the highway superintendent immediately. Show us that abuse of power has consequences and that voices of the victims matter than protecting this one man's job. And I would like to say from an HR standpoint that part-time for somebody to babysit this monster, that position should be a full-time job. And $1,000 is actually inadequate. That's not a good amount for someone that has to literally babysit this man who makes $89,000. And I think that that's shameful. And I also believe that the people that support him should be resigning if you're on this board. And you know who you are. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Cruiser. I live at 8 Creekside Drive, Conway Falls. It's a lot to say. I don't have a statement written up, but I know that some believe that I'm using this as an opportunity for political gain. And you could say that publicly about anything that's going on either side with this, not just this side. The fact of the matter is, I've been involved in community issues for a long time. This isn't the first time. And it won't be the last time, regardless of whether or not I am running for a town board position or not. So I'm here because I'm honest and I believe in this issue. I myself am a victim of sexual violence in the workplace. And when I see issues of sexual harassment ignored for not just months, but years, to get us 20 months later, for people to have to live in the situation that they've described is unacceptable. There were accidents, mistakes made, but they were big ones. Having somebody run on your sitting board member, leading an investigation is a big mistake. And it cost people health and well-being. You said you don't want to lose good people by not putting out $1,000 enticement. You lost so many people, good people, by letting it go on for as long as it did. There are things that you could do. I don't understand why an application hasn't been filed with the New York State Supreme Court I don't have the name, the Public Officers Law, Section 36. This is something you could have started months and months and months ago and had him out long ago. You could also have put somebody in place like a deputy for the same amount or less, full-time, not part-time, to do more than babysit, but actually take those responsibilities from him. Probably do that for cheaper, quite honestly. And I think that the way the board handled this, and this is just some of it, it wasn't done well. And I think that there needs to be greater accountability. I think that you need to have a town hall where you can have back and forth engagement with people and you can allow them to ask questions and respond to those questions. And yes, I'm running for a town board position. It's because I care about the community, and you're hearing from me right now because I care about the community. And that is the reason why I'm here. I'm the last person I thought would run for any kind of political position because you were talking about me.
Ladies, we can,
Okay.
you're directing your comments to the board.
Apologies.
Please don't direct your comments to the audience.
Apologies. So I just want to say that I'm here for good reasons, not for political reasons, but you can say anything is political. I don't know how you get around that argument in anything that's said or done. So in summary, I think that the board mishandled this. It's unacceptable that it took as long as it did and continue to have to work in this environment. And I think that there needs to be updates to your standard procedures at the very least and how these are handled going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Well, quickly, sensibility only, anyway, folks. I'm not taking sides. I do have a question. Question is the establishment of a highway administrator to take responsibilities away from duly elected statutory position. Is that legal? To my knowledge, there's nothing in civil service categories that talk about highway administrator. There's certainly nothing statutorily elected as an elected position either. Please pursue legal counsel on that, because you may be establishing a position that you can't. Thank you.
Thank you.
Joel Laddy, 3516 West Mender Road. Keep it short. I'm in agreement with what I said.
I'm sorry, sir. Can you speak up? I can't hear you.
Yes, I'll keep it short. I'm in agreement with a lot of what Rebecca said. I'm also running for office. But I also care about this town. From everything I have looked into and investigated, it seems like this issue goes back much further than any of the records are indicating at this time. Seems to me it goes back almost 4 years. And, that's a really, really long time. And, I think the board could have done a much better job, given that the situation is that old.
Thank you. Anyone else? At this point, we will close the public comment portion of this evening's meeting. The next one, thing on the agenda is executive session. That'll be followed by number 15, which is the Monroe County District Attorney's Office for contact regarding highway superintendent, which will be followed by number 16, which is adjournment. If you would, if the board want to enter into executive session,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
So if you would like to stay outside, we will open the doors and announce that we're out of executive session. If you would like to stay.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to thank everybody for coming.